Welcome to the Mystic Library. Good afternoon, Mystic Library. How can I help?
Hello, I'm looking for a curse.
How about shit? It's a pretty solid one. Not too strong, conveys the meaning. It's very versatile.
Sorry?
Well, it can be used for almost anything. Ape shit, bullshit, batshit, to lose one's shit, shit hot, and so forth. Pretty solid curse, I'd say.
Now, I'm afraid I'm looking for a particular curse, one that curdles the target's organs inside their body.
Oh, I see. I'm so sorry. I believe you're referring to Spivmeyer's Blood Fizzer. You'll find that in our occult section under Spite and Malice.
Perfect, thank you.
Although you could also try Oh, they've gone. Good afternoon, Mystic Library.
Hello, all my houseplants keep dying.
I see. Do you want gardening or necromancy?
And also, I keep losing one sock out of every pair whenever I do laundry.
Sounds to me like you've got gnomes. We have a number of books on household pests. I can put a hold on Snedford's Fighting on the Gnome Front, if you like. Or if you prefer a more humane approach, we also have Moonwater's Protective Charms for the Environmentally Conscious.
I'll take both, please.
No problem at all. Thank you for calling. Busy one today. It sure is, sir. Hello, sir. Welcome to the Mystic Library. How can I help? Hey there, librarian. I'm an agrarian, or a farmer, if you'd put it that way. Seems I've been cursed to speak always in verse, and that's why I come here today. Oh, right. Well, not to worry, sir. Can you describe how this happened to you? Well, it was late in the last year, out there in the pasture, and I admit I'd been nibbing the gin. You may call me an old fool, saw a red ring of toadstools and thought nothing of stepping right in. Well, there ain't much room to make way for mushrooms, so you could say I needed the space, and I was wearing my dungas and removing the fungus when the small man appeared in its place. Hey, Mr. Farmer, I don't mean to alarm you, but you just fell for my trap. See, I have various means for nefarious tricks I can pull on a chap.
Now, I may not look scary, but I'm a fairy, he giggled as he lit up a cig.
My piece is destroyed and I'm fairly annoyed, so I reckon you owe me a jig. Before I knew it, my feet were tap dancing in meter and my knees started jumping around. And the little man cackled, but I was left baffled when my mouth started making these sounds. It was then that he vanished and I started to panic, but the dancing wore off in the end. It's been quite a long time, and yet I'm still rhyming, so I'm hoping there's a book I could land. A common enough problem, I assure you, sir. I believe you want Not Coolman's Loopholes for Fairy Contracts, 3rd edition. There's a chapter about territorial disputes with agricultural workers such as yourself that you should find interesting. That's just what I needed. I'll be certain to read it, and I hope I'll be cured of this wrong. Thank you most kindly. I'm excited to finally be able to finish this song. Happy to help. Sir, where do these books need to go? The pages are all blank. Oh, those are ultraviolet books. They go in light reading. Also, the ghosts in the stacks want a word. Apparently they need more candles. Candles? To read by, sir. The stacks don't get a lot of visitors, and often it's dark down there and the ghosts can't see. Can't ghosts see in the dark? Not well enough to read by, sir. Many of them need glasses. Very well, I think there's some pumpkin spice candles in a cupboard somewhere. And a load of them some more spectacles. Yes, very good, sir. Now then, any overdue books to chase up? Yes, sir. Bernard's Chronomancy for the Chronically Late hasn't come back yet. Well, maybe it will have by yesterday. Who has that book? Mrs. Viola Flapwing of 12 Wyvern Avenue, Cheese upon Toast, East Bodleshire. We'll send her a reminder, imp. Any others? Gelidus the Ice Wizard over at Winter's Edge Tower still hasn't returned our copy of the Pingunomicon, and I believe Baron Killcrush at Blood Murder Fortress still has our copy of Crochet for Beginners. I think we'll need to send a polite but firm letter to Winter's Edge Tower. That Ice Wizard is starting to take the piss. We'll give Baron Killcrush another week, though, bless him. He's a slow reader. Insists on trying to read it through the visor on his helmet. There's a raven at the window, sir. Looks like a message tied to its leg. Oh, splendid. Let's see. To the proprietors of the Mystic Library, kindly stop sending books with tracking enchantments. I consider it a breach of privacy, and I will be hexing your catalogues accordingly. Yours frostily, Gelidus. P.S. I've misplaced the Pingunomicon in a snowdrift. Oh dear. Well, I suppose it will free up some shelf space. We've just got in those new tomes about that new summoning language, Juju script. All these languages they keep inventing, I can barely keep up. When I was studying conjuration, we only had Stos. Well, Stos isn't supported anymore, sir. The demons found a way around it. But there's all sorts of variety nowadays, depending on what you're trying to summon. And you can use coloured chalk now in your circles to help distinguish your runes. And I'm told you don't even need to hear the anguished cries of the damned anymore when you establish the connection. We've really come a long way since I was at school. Good afternoon, welcome to the... Oh, it's you, Marnabas. What is it this time? Is that a teapot you're holding? Good afternoon, librarian. Yes, it is I, Marnabas. And yes, this is my teapot, Florence. She started issuing prophecy. Prophecy? That's not entirely unusual for tea leaves, I suppose. Do you need a book on tasseomancy? Out loud, in iambic pentameter.
The owl will fall when marmalade is spread. Beware the man who bears the letter Q.
Ah, I see. She foresaw this chat, and knows about the biscuits in your drawer, and your misgivings about your recent haircut. She told you that. In fact, she sang it, to the tune of Oranges and Lemons, but slowed down. It was really spooky. I see. I think you'll want P.G. Tetley's Steep Secrets Boil and Leaf, that's upstairs in divination, or perhaps even Mumbles and Rock Salt's Golems and Other Sentient Ceramics, that's in DIY. Do you have a tea tray strong enough to bear the weight of destiny? Second floor by the Cursed Mirrors.
Prepare the plums. The goose arrives at dusk.
Jolly good, thank you. Oh, what is it now? It's a message from the ghosts, sir. Seems they've got something to say about the candles we've just ordered. To the management of the living, we, the undersigned members of the Bibliographical Order of Obituary, formally object to the recent order of pumpkin-scented candles. While we acknowledge efforts to improve visibility in the lower stacks, this scent evokes traumatic associations for many of our members. Several were burned as witches at the harvest, some suffered from seasonal allergies, and one unfortunate soul was smothered in a tragic pie incident. Effective immediately, we're enacting a soft haunt. Expect cold spots, ominous humming, and spontaneous reshelving until our demands are met. Our demands are as follows: unscented beeswax replacements, a dedicated seance slot in the staff calendar, weighted page corners for the corporeally disadvantaged, and designated moaning hours between midnight and 2 a.m. Failure to comply will result in the continuation of our soft haunt, including but not limited to icy drafts, maddening whispers, and the rearrangement of reference materials into passive-aggressive acrostics. With eternal regard, Professor Horace Damp, Spooksman, B.O.O. Gosh, they're so hard to please, aren't they? Well, they do say death is more stressful for those you leave behind. I'm going on a break. Hold down the desk for me. Well, what about the ghosts, sir? Cancel the candles. There shouldn't be naked flames in the stacks anyway. Tell them we'll try to source some glowing crystals, and if they give you any attitude, there's a bag of salt under the desk.
Do you think perhaps we were going too far with the moaning hours? I mean, this is a library.
So what?
Well, you are supposed to be quiet in the library. That's why we, excruciatingly literate and painfully well-read ghosts, to whom no boundary is a barrier and no lock can deter, out of the whole immense labyrinth of this cathedral of books, we choose the lower stacks, the quietest and most remote of the sub-basement levels, for our seat, so that we may quietly study these archives in peace for eternity.
I thought it was because the living scholars found that new smell we don't like.
What smell?
Well, you know, sometimes people burn herbs and things thinking that'll keep us away.
But it never does, yeah.
Right, well, at some point since we died, the living came up with these weird scented tobacco flutes that smell of all kinds of things. For some reason, they're like sulphur candles for ghosts. We absolutely can't be around them.
All right, yeah, I remember that now. Why are they allowed to smoke in the library anyway? The librarian says the wizards who use the library need to have pipes for their mystique. Well, is that not a bit of a fire hazard? The librarian says tobacco ash is the very least of the hazards, fire or otherwise, in the Mystic Library, and he's not wrong on that count.
You're not wrong. I died on the 3rd floor when a cursed hand flew out of the pages of a book and grabbed a hold of my face. Sucked the life right out of me, died instantly.
Well, that's not right at all. Life-stealer tomes belong on the 4th floor. Wait a minute. So you're not an agonizingly bookish scholar whose unfinished business is some sort of research. You're just some guy who was killed upstairs.
I prefer the term victim of bibliocide.
Wouldn't a victim of bibliocide be a book who was killed, rather than someone who was killed by a book?
Well, yes, but the etymologically coherent term would be bibliothanatocide, and that's a bit of a mouthful.
What book did you say you were looking for on the 3rd floor?
The Glossary of Unusual Ways to Die.
So what's your unfinished business?
I want to leave a bad review of the book that killed me.
Well, this is no good at all. The librarian simply won't take us seriously as an academic department. Our members consist of the careless and the unlucky. The rest of us are proper library spectres. I spent so much time here in life that when I died, my spirit was tied to this place more than my own home, so that I can continue my research forever.
Well, since you mention it, Professor.
What, you're going to tell me you didn't read yourself to death either?
No, I'm afraid I only visited this library once, in fact, when I was a child. I'm pretty sure my unfinished business is an unpaid fine of 5 copper pieces for an unreturned copy of 1001 Tragic Backstories that I immediately dropped in a puddle and then just ran home and never came back.
Well, hell's teeth, man, even as a ghost, it can't be that hard to gather up 5 copper pieces and set your soul free.
You mean that would work?
Of course it would. Do you know why it's called unfinished business? Because you're supposed to finish it. Then you can go and be at rest.
Wait, if it's that easy, why haven't you finished your research?
But I happen to be studying very mysterious and esoteric old books. Grimoires, in fact.
So you're struggling a bit, are you?
I'm not struggling, it's very complicated work, okay? I'm trying to unravel the mysteries of reality itself.
Sounds like a bit of a steep goal. Might be a while before you get to be at rest and everything.
Well, that's fine, actually, because I happen to like being a ghost.
Do you?
Yes, I can continue my research in the sort of peace and quiet only the grave can offer.
Yeah, good luck with that. I'm off to look for 5pence. Expedition log, Alexander Wobertide, 13th of June. I am somewhere on the 7th floor in the Mystic Library, having left the relative safety of the stairwell on Tuesday morning. I've trekked through around 9 miles of bookshelves since then, keeping a crude chart of my route for all the good that will do me among the shifting shelves. I followed the M's out of the stairwell door for an hour or so and turned left at Marmalades and Other Preserves, and there conveniently found a semantic shortcut through to Mummies in the Undead section. As I emerged from the shelves, it transpired soon after that something big, shambling, and ill-tempered was also browsing in the area, and had found my sudden proximity disagreeable. It was a wild thesaurus with gigantic claws and gnashing teeth, not to mention nails, talons, fangs, and tusks, and so spotting a nearby rolling ladder beside a large statue of the undead poet Altenazus Shakesbones, I quickly climbed up several stories worth of shelves to put some distance between me and the horror. But just as I looked down to see if it was pursuing, the shambling monster stumbled into the statue of the zombie bard and upset it, which also upset me, as the heavy marble sculpture tipped over, it collided with my rolling ladder and sent me careening along the rails at a rate of knots. Some time later, the ladder rolled gently to a stop in a swamp of rotten essays. Muddy comparisons sucked at my boots as I trudged through shallow paragraphs, and frequently I found myself in the weeds trying to navigate through a pool of logical fallacies.
Eventually, I was able to climb up onto a tower of lofty preconceptions that loomed over the half-submerged bookshelves and gave me a greater view of the swamp. A moral quagmire lay to my right, and to my left I could see the Isles were being prowled by a number of living scarecrows that I thought best to avoid. A straw man may not seem like a difficult opponent, but in sufficient numbers a fellow can find himself overwhelmed. And so, looking directly ahead across a pond of stagnant opinions, I fancied I could just detect a sandy shore of conclusions through the fog of bias. Of course, reaching the conclusions is the most difficult part of any essayist's journey, and I knew that if I were to descend from my vantage point and try to wade through the pond of opinion between here and there, it would certainly swallow me up, and I would suffocate in subjectivity. No, there was only one way I was going to reach conclusions. I was going to have to jump. I leapt from the spire, plummeted through the fog of bias, and tumbled onto the stony shore, conveniently landing on a well-supported hypothesis that broke my fall. Wishing to put the essay swamp behind me, I scurried forwards and examined the shelves to learn where I had emerged. That's when I spotted a door nestled between the bookcases, clearly marked with the words, "Staff Only." Nevertheless, my curiosity was insurmountable, and I'm an explorer after all, so I tried the knob.
Oi!
Said the door. "Oh, terribly sorry," I replied.
You don't look like staff to me, matey,
the door said haughtily. "Granted, I am not. My name is Alexander Wobertide," I said, for that is my name.
Well, you're not on my list, Alexander, so I'm afraid I can't let you pass.
Understandable. Have a good day, I said, turning away.
Unless
what?
you can answer my riddle.
Riddling is a skill that any junior explorer knows must be kept sharp. Explorers face a constant threat of riddle makers, and just to be safe, I have the answer to the one about the 2 guards tattooed on my inner thigh. "Bring it on," I said, discreetly undoing my flies.
All right then, here goes. Although my contents are often strange, my leaves will turn, but they do not change.
That's a tricky one. Can I have a clue?
You want a clue? I mean, I could give you the kids' version of the riddle if you want.
Yes, please, said I, impressed with the library's accessibility features.
I have a spine, a front and back. I'm kept on shelves or in a stack. For those who read, I am your friend. Press 1 to hear this riddle again.
Bit of a slant rhyme at the end there.
Yeah, well, do you know the answer or not?
Give me a moment to think.
You're kidding. Really?
Well, whatever do you mean?
I mean, we're in a library and I thought the riddle was quite easy, that's all.
What sort of security door sets riddles that it thinks are quite easy?
No, you have to answer my riddle first.
Hold on, I said, reaching into my satchel. I shall write all of this down in my expedition log.
What? Okay, yes. And what is your expedition log?
It's a record of my adventures through the 7th floor.
No, but what is it? What is it literally?
It's a journal I'm keeping about.
Okay, but what is it, physically, in your hands?
It's a leather-bound binder containing...
Gods above us! Yes, okay, it's a binder, or perhaps a volume, or even a tome. And these are all words that mean, with us being here in this library and everything...
Sorry, I'm just writing down your riddle in my notebook.
That'll do, access granted.
I'm sorry?
You clearly said the word book. That's the answer to my fiendish riddle. Oh, you're too sharp for me, traveller. Well, off you go inside then.
Just like that?
Yeah, that felt good. Truth be told, I just wanted to flex the hinges. I'm not allowed to open unless you answer the riddle right. Nobody's opened me in ages. I was getting cramp.
Well, glad to lend a hand. Cheerio. And so I proceeded into what transpired to be a disused break room for librarians, complete with a tea kettle, soft furnishings, and a sheet of colourful stickers bearing slogans such as Bookworm and I Heart Reading. I also happened across a curious coffee mug emblazoned with the phrase, "Librarians do it by the book." After granting myself a sticker for being such a brave boy, I made some tea in the kettle and began writing up my adventures of the last day. Tomorrow I shall move on, and I shall take the coffee cup with me as an artifact of my adventure. If I present it to the librarian as a gift when I return downstairs, perhaps he shall let me borrow whichever book it is that librarians do it by.
After decades of work, I have mastered my snake blood language for drawing runes. By using the blood of reptiles as an ink, I have created a stable, reliable system for summoning demons and performing complex incantations. Over the last several weeks, I have meticulously transcribed thousands of symbols onto my summoning circle, gathered my spell ingredients, and coined the magic words that will activate my spell. In mere moments, I shall recite the arcane words that will activate the most powerful summoning language yet created. This will show them all, especially the snakes. Soon I, the great Dr. Sprinkly, will have an army of demons at my fingertips such as never been dreamed of.
Hello, is this the Summoning Labs?
What? What? Yes, I suppose. What do you want?
It's just, I have this room booked from 2 o'clock.
Well, no matter, my NPC friend. I still have 5 minutes until the top of the hour, and my work is almost complete. You shall bear witness to the dawn of a new age.
What did you just call me?
All right then, without further ado, the magic activation words. Run command!
Syntax error. Summon function is missing one required positional sacrifice.
Blast and corruption. I had assumed the snake blood would generate sufficient sacrificial bandwidth to allow the transfer of zipped arcana packets, but maybe I need more capacity.
Value.
What?
Value.
Damn it all! For some reason, the system can't concatenate the core incantation code with the catechism calculation. But I was so careful. Why isn't it working?
Value.
Why isn't it working?
Value.
Why? Why?
Can I use a circle now?
Fine, whatever.
The Mystic Library was written and created by Jordan Ward. Thank you for listening. And remember to support your local library.